Hello, and welcome to the Fall 2020 American Government class online. I'm your professor, Richard Laird. What I'd like to do today for our first video is go through the syllabus in detail. You should have read through it by now. You should have a hard copy handy, or at least a digital copy close by that you can look at and follow along. Also, the textbook for the class here is American Government, a brief introduction that you want to get that in as quickly as you can. So what we will do here is go ahead and get right on into the syllabus. Okay, the first thing we'll do is get on into Moodle. So what we'll do is click here on mybergen.edu. Then that will take us to our portal page here. Click on online classes. That should take you to your American Government class, clicking on the syllabus here. Now keep in mind, both of my classes that start on September 23rd will have the exact same schedule, exact same requirements, same syllabus. That's why I'm putting together here for today's video. The only difference will be that you'll have your own Moodle page. So the class officially starts today, September 23rd. And what I want to do for this class is post video lectures every Monday and Wednesday morning. So we'll get into that here in detail here in a second. There's my email. Best way to reach me is at rlaird@bergen.edu. Video conferencing will be available. Plan on doing that on Thursdays. That would be either through Zoom or WebEx as needed. That will only be for one-on-one personal conferences if there's anything that students need to talk about specifically. Otherwise, we will be watching the videos and responding to discussion forums. I'll let you read the course description here, but we are going to be looking at the basics of American government, particularly its roots, its evolution, how it was formed, Constitution, the institutions and how they have progressed over the past couple of centuries, the role of the people. We'll be looking at parties, interest groups, economic policy, and foreign policy. You'll also be given a writing assignment. We'll spend some time on how to write a critical, objective analysis of a topic. We'll get into that here in a little bit more detail here in a bit, but you will be picking your own topic that's relevant to American government. Talked about the textbook, online version of the textbook there, the ebook, if you prefer that. Everything will be posted on Moodle. Lecture notes, all the videos, tests, any supplemental articles, all assignments. So you'll want to check your Moodle every day. We want to make this as interactive as we can. Also, I'd like you to keep up with current events on politics and government. I know there's a overwhelming topic that's at the forefront of everyone's mind right now that's changing the way we live. But you will keep up with what's happening in the world today because you'll want to pick a topic to write about. Students will also learn how to access the library databases for peer-reviewed academic journals, which will be very important in reading about your paper topic. So let's talk for a few minutes here, very important, about course participation, this being an online course. Keep in mind, this is not going to be a self-paced course. You will need to keep up on a daily basis. You need to check your Moodle and your school email every day. What we'll do here, every Monday and Wednesday morning, I will post a video lecture. We'll look at the schedule here in a few minutes. Then a discussion forum will be posted that same day, usually by noon of that Wednesday or that Monday. And then you will have until 9 p.m. that evening, that Monday or that Wednesday, to respond to that discussion forum question. So that's how I will take attendance. Attendance will be taken through the responses to these discussion forums after the video lectures. If you fail to respond by the 9 p.m. deadline, you'll be counted absent for that day. So as you can see, I'm trying to treat this class just as we would if we would have an in-class lecture every Monday and Wednesday. So when you don't respond to the discussion forum, be counted absent. That'll be a deduction of 5 points from your attendance grade. We'll look at the breakdown here in a minute. Now, the discussion forum response could also have other points deducted for other things, such as not following the instructions or not watching the video lecture before you get into the discussion forum. So this is very important. Students are required to watch the entire video lecture before responding to the discussion forum. The forum might also be a group exercise that could require some communication or interaction between the students. There's no right or wrong answers to a discussion forum. You have to keep in mind that we want to use our own responses, obviously. Points could be detracted for repeating the same response that a previous student has posted on the forum. So very important. Read the previous posts before you respond to the discussion forum in order to avoid repetition, improve the variety of responses. The forum could also be in a pop quiz format where each student would enter into that quiz and respond to the discussion forum and not have access to any other of the students' responses. So attendance and participation in these class exercises and the discussion forums will account for 15% of your total grade. It is your responsibility to keep up with the lectures and the discussion forums. The forum will be closed at the deadline. If you miss that deadline, that's it. So you will not be emailing the professor asking if you can go ahead and respond to the forum. No, it will be closed. We'll be moving on. So you have to be engaged in the class and keep up. Now, if it sounds like that I'm not from around here, well, that's because I ain't originally from around here. So let's look at how the tests will go. There'll be 3 online tests during the course. Each test will cover about 4 to 5 chapters each. These 3 tests will total account for 60% of your grade. These tests will be open book, open note tests, but they will be timed, and that timing will be somewhat challenging. Students will have to be prepared before they start the test. Take notes, whatever it takes for you to prepare as you would for any normal test, but you will need to be prepared before you start that timed test because you will not have time to look up the answers during that test. The tests will include a variety of questions, multiple choice, matching, fill in the blank, true, false, short answer, short essay questions. The short essay questions will require the student to demonstrate some fundamental understanding of what is being asked. So if you just simply go back to the lecture and copy and paste a list of things that I may have shown on the lecture slides, that will not get you anywhere near full credit. You will need to explain that answer to that short essay question into your own words. So do not copy and paste anything, anywhere, anyhow. Failure to complete the test by that 9 p.m. deadline for that particular evening would result in 0 points for that test. So you need to pay attention, keep up, know when the tests are going to be. Don't miss a test because that could kill your grade to get 0 points for 20% of your grade. It's your responsibility to communicate with the professor if there's any issue at any time immediately. Students cannot pass the course if they do not take test number 3. Let's talk a little bit about the paper assignment. We'll get into this gradually. Don't have to worry about it too much right now, but each student will choose a current topic that is relevant to national government or politics. And since the pandemic is at the forefront of everyone's mind, let's pick something besides that. Now, obviously, whatever topic you pick, you can talk about how the pandemic has affected that particular issue. You can certainly do that. But let's be a little bit more creative, pick a topic that may interest you or may be part of your apply to your major, things like that. What I will need on October 21st, Wednesday, will be a 1/2 page summary of that topic that you want to write about. This summary will describe what you want to write about and why, and you should include one credible news source that you looked up to help you learn a little bit more about that topic. If the paper topic summary is not received on that day that it's due, you'll be counted absent for that day. So all of these assignments, discussion forums, participation, all are going to work the same way. You'll be counted absent if you don't do what was assigned for that day. Now, students could be asked to resubmit the summary if it's not clear or specific. There's no penalty for this, but we need to narrow it down what you're going to be writing about. If there's too many other students that are looking at that same topic, might also want to send it back and ask if students have a second choice. Bottom line is that your topic must be approved before moving on to the paper, to looking up articles about your paper. At some point before the paper is due, students will be asked to submit some peer-reviewed academic sources that they've found so far in the proper format. So I will give you plenty of instruction on what these peer-reviewed academic sources are, where to find them, how to cite them, all of that. These will be videos that we'll post, as we'll see here in a few minutes, as part of the course. Your paper will be 4.5 pages minimum, not including the reference page, and that will be due on Monday, December 14th. The papers will be attached to a form that I'll set up in Moodle as a Word file. That's important. Attach it as a Word file so that I can use the Word tools to make comments in the margins and send it back to you. The format for all of your paper assignments will be the same. They will be double-spaced, 12-point font, Times New Roman, 1-inch margins. So all of the paper assignments that you turn in will have those same formats for all the students. There'll be a minimum of 6 references for your paper. At least 4 of those will need to be peer-reviewed academic journals. So again, I'll be telling you about those more later on. I'll be posting instructions as well as videos on citing those. The paper will be an objective analysis, critical analysis of the issue that you're looking at. I'll be posting a guide, a PDF file, guide to writing your paper that provides lots of useful information on writing a more interesting, informative paper. So this is very important. The paper is not for the purpose of expressing your opinions. It is to demonstrate what you have learned from your readings, from your legitimate, credible sources that you have found. So what you want to do is find legitimate, credible sources, whether it's news sources or the peer-reviewed sources, and then describe what you have learned in your own words. It's very important. Do not copy and paste anything, anywhere, anyhow, under any circumstances. Do not copy and paste. You're going to be graded on your ability to gather this useful, interesting information from credible sources and displaying that understanding of the topic in your own words. Looking at the honor code, any form of cheating will not be tolerated. You could result in expulsion from school for that. Once the test period has started, students will not communicate any information regarding the test. Now, obviously, before the test period starts, you can ask questions, study in study groups if that's what you do, want to do, compare notes, whatever. But once that test period has started, there is no communication at all about the test. As far as your paper goes, each paper will be the student's own work. Keep in mind that any suspicious similarities between any student papers or any test answers could warrant an investigation. So don't even think about it. Don't even go there. It's the single worst thing you can do in your college career. Do not even think about cheating. Plagiarizing your class paper from any other source is forbidden. Be sure to cite your sources for quotes and paraphrasing, and I will show you how to do that. Most of your paper will be paraphrasing from these legitimate sources. So at the end of each of those passages, you'll let me know where that come from, and I will show you how to do that. Once again, do not copy and paste anything, anywhere, anyhow, under any circumstances. Oh, by the way, don't copy and paste anything. Now, I do like to tell my students that prior to becoming a professor, I was a civil engineer down in Texas for over 20 years. So the point to that is that keep in mind that every single thing that I tell you is for a reason. Looking at the grade breakdown, each test will be 20% of your grade for a total of 60% for those 3 tests. Your paper assignments, all associated writing assignments with that, will be 25% of your grade. And we will be spending quite a bit of time preparing for that. Participation, as I said, is 15% of your grade. Keep in mind, for your tests, there's no makeups, there's no extra credit. You have to stay engaged in the class, keep up with what is scheduled for that day. There's a late penalty, substantial late penalty for the paper, and no incompletes will be given for the course. As I said before, in your participation, no excused absences. In other words, if you miss a deadline, that's it. We move on. So let's talk about the class schedule for just a few minutes here. A couple of central comments. The deadline, as I said, to respond to each of the discussion forums is going to be 9 p.m. that Monday or Wednesday evening. Any assignments that are due that day, they will need to be posted by 9 p.m. on that forum that I set up on the day they are due. And the deadline to complete the tests will be also 9 p.m. on the day that those tests are scheduled. So let's run through the schedule. Here's today's video, Introduction to the Course, looking at the syllabus in detail. Then we will get right into the book, so get that as quickly as you can. Give you a little bit of a grace period here because chapter 1 we're going to be talking about is just some basics, introduction of terms to government and politics. But then we will get right into the Constitution. Why do we have a Constitution? What's actually in the Constitution? We'll be going through that in considerable detail. Then we'll talk about what the framers of the Constitution did in order to sell it to the states, such as the Federalist Papers, the Bill of Rights, the separation of powers. Also, on that day, I'll be posting a video, a supplemental video, that's just talking about the class paper, just a general introduction to the paper assignment. Then we will talk about the concept of federalism. We will look at a timeline of civil liberties and civil rights in the United States. And then test number 1 will be on October 19th. That'll be looking at chapters 1 through 4. Then we will have a video talking about the scientific method, which is going to help you in learning about your topic. Also, that same day, the paper topic summary is due. That's when I will just need a half of a page in a Word file that's telling me briefly what your topic is you want to write about and why. Then we will talk about the institutions of government, Congress, the presidency. I also want to post a video on the peer-reviewed academic journals explaining why they're important, where to find them, how to cite them. Then we'll look at the executive branch. We'll also talk about the bureaucratic function of the executive branch. And then we will look at the federal court system. And then on November 16th, test number 2, we'll look at chapters 5 through 8, as well as scientific method. Now, for the final third of the course, we'll be talking about some other democratic institutions that support American government, looking at public opinion and the media. We'll be looking at elections. I will also give you a little bit of input on how to register by mail. Let me just go ahead and take a minute to do that right now because you want to register to vote as quickly as you can because the election is coming up right around the corner. So the first thing, you want to go to the New Jersey Division of Elections website, click on Election Information, and then right here, Register to Vote. Then you scroll down. I live in Bergen County, so you click on Voter Registration Application, and there it is right there. It's just 2 sheets. You print that out. You can print it out 2 pages or double-sided if you want. It only takes just a few minutes to fill that form out, and then you tri-fold it, just like I'm going to do right here. Tri-fold it. Then you put a little piece of tape on it to hold it together, and there's actually no postage necessary. You just drop it in the mailbox, and then within a week or so, you are registered to vote. So go ahead and get that done as soon as you can if you haven't registered already. Thanksgiving break on November 25th, no class there. Then we'll be looking at political parties, interest groups, very important aspect of our pluralist system in America. And I also want to post a short video along with a PDF file, some last-minute instructions for your paper topic assignment. Then I want to break up the last 2 chapters, Economic Policy, Part 1 and Part 2. Then Foreign Policy, Part 1. And then your paper is also due that day, December 14th, 4.5 pages minimum in a Word file. And then the Foreign Policy Part 2. And then the last day of class, December 21st, test number 3, looking at chapters 9 through 14. That covers the first video going through the syllabus. So I will see you in class.